Welcome to Grey County Life on Rogers TV. I'm one of your hosts, Rhonda Brown.
And I'm Mary Jane Murray, and this is your favorite lifestyle magazine show on Rogers TV. Well, good morning, Rhonda.
Good morning. You know, I absolutely love facing Wednesday mornings for our taping of our show because Mary Jane is very uplifting, and I think it's so important to have that in our lives. You know, when you're not feeling quite so fresh and pretty some mornings after the sleep situation just doesn't always cooperate. But I like coming in and having your smiling face.
Oh, well, Rhonda, you bring the fun to the program, that's for sure. But last night we were both out enjoying a wonderful evening, the two of us, that was presented by Elect Her Now.
Yes.
And featuring the gorgeous Gallivanting goddesses, Sheila Spur, as the writer of the play, was the guest of the evening, and we had such a good time.
You know, it's pretty amazing to be in a room with so many intelligent, well-informed, powerful women in our community, and Elect Her is just amazing. It was the first time I went to an event. I think actually it was the first time they had an in-person one. Of course, since COVID and all the Zoom meetings and everything else. But wow, talk about inspiring. And like these women are just go-getters and strong and really excited about the next 2 election terms and their goal to have 50% of the people elected as being female to represent the 50% of us in our population. I mean, it's important. So it's, I was so pleased to be able to be there and to see what they're trying to spearhead and initiate.
Well, not only that, it's also a room full of women who are supporting other women to either run, volunteer, and if you are in office, Elect Her is also there, and the women in the room are also there to help you thrive. Yeah. And I think that's really important because so many of the women who run for municipal office also have full-time jobs and families, and there's a lot on their plate. Yeah. And going into this situation, especially if you're brand new, having a group of women behind you that you can bounce ideas off and glean a lot of information, and just knowing that they're there to support you through the whole process. Yeah. And so it was just a fun evening to have the gorgeous Gallivanting goddess, the author of the play, on site, because it was it's a play all about women, supporting women. And Sheila is going to be our guest coming up in a later segment. Yes. So it turned out to be not only a fun evening, but we also get to interview her again this morning. Yeah, fantastic timing. And boy, I love having, the sense of community and seeing the people at events out and about and finding out about their life history. It's really interesting. It's really interesting. It is. Yeah. And just on another note, before we go to break, talking about being supportive and thinking about safety in our community. The fire department does such a great job. Greg Nickel is wonderful in terms of just getting out there, educating our community in terms of fire safety. And now, starting May 15th, which it is beyond May 15th now, but they were doing home inspections, and they're invited in, and they're warm and they're friendly. And if you choose not to, that's okay. But at the same time, you want your family to be safe. They also provide carbon detectors and carbon monoxide and fire smoke alarms. Yep. And one of the things that it's really important to remember is that they have expiry dates. Yeah. So you do need to check that. But if you have any questions, Greg Nickel and his team would be very happy to answer those. So just get in touch with them. They do specific areas in the city, but if you're not in that area and you want that home safety check, just give them a call, and they're very accommodating.
And really, as I was saying before we came on air, who doesn't want to invite a bunch of handsome firefighters into their home? I mean, hello. And I can say that because my dad was a firefighter. Okay. And there was a picture that went around on Facebook recently of an old baseball team with a bunch of firefighters on it. And I look at that and think, my gosh, what a handsome group of young men. Yeah, that was so much fun. Yeah, so absolutely. And we were talking about the fact that you need to have the smoke detectors, and I think the last time Greg was here, we were talking about that, in each individual room. Because I don't know about you guys, but my teenagers, and myself included actually, I do charge my phone and my tablet in my room at times, and that's where fires have been known to start in the last few years. So great idea to have it inside the room, as well as in the hallways and in your main areas on each floor. And I don't know why I didn't clue into that a while ago, but it was the last time that Greg came in that I thought, oh gosh, I need to do that. And it's an outlay of expense at the time, but if it saves everybody's life, you know.
That's important. The other thing that we do in our home is that we never charge anything overnight. We never have any chargers or any plugs in for our devices when we go to bed. Everything is pulled out. So we know that that is not going to be an issue. Yeah,
that's very smart. And I don't know how to regulate with my teenagers, but I will try. We'll see how that goes.
Oh, well, Greg is very happy to come into your home and have a chat.
Yes, that's right. That's right. That's a good way to get it done too, right? Yeah.
Well, you know, hearing the information from a different source other than your mother sometimes make an impact.
Yes, I know that from my own history, so yeah. Also today, I know we've got to stop, but blood donating at the Legion. It's today, but so you're going to miss it because this show's next week, but the next time we have a donation clinic, make sure you attend or try to get out. It's really important.
Giving blood.
Yeah. We'll be back after these messages on Grey County Life on Rogers TV.
This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too. Al-Anon and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Everybody knows not to drink and drive, but some people still think it's okay to take drugs and drive. Police have the authority, the ability, and the tools to determine if drivers are impaired by legal or illegal drugs. And because drug-impaired drivers can pose just as great a risk as drunk drivers, they face the same penalties, like the loss of their driver's license, a criminal record, fines, and more. A message from the RCMP, the Canadian Association of Chiefs of Police, and Arrive Alive, Drive Sober.
Don't forget to tune in to Grey County Life on Rogers TV next week.
We're going to be talking to Tim Nichols-Harrison from the Owen Sound Library.
Welcome back to Grey County Life on Rogers TV. We have some special guests in the house today, and everybody looks lovely with the warm weather that we're experiencing.
We do, and we're welcoming back to the show Marion Neeson and Deborah Barker because they're board members for the Ukrainian village, and we had them on early in the fall. And I believe we were in studio at the time, and then we had to go back into Zoom. And so it's really nice to see you again and to update us on what's happening with the Ukrainian village. And first and foremost, I just really want to pass on my sincere gratitude for all the work that you're doing in welcoming the Ukrainian families into our community.
Thank you.
So, tell us about the updates.
Go ahead, Marion. You start us off. So we're almost a year to the date when we started the renovations for the fourplex. And then we had 3 families move in at the end of July of last year. And another family moved in October, November, and another one in early December. So we've had 5 families in the fourplex, and they're all working. Now we are in the position where 3 of the families are transitioning out. One has already found an apartment and has moved.
Wow.
So we helped her with that. And then we have another one that is moving shortly. And then our 3rd family, we're just waiting to hear, what the progress is and where she's at. And then we'll welcome 3 new families, 2 or 3 new families to take those apartments over.
And,
Wow.
and these families have children. And how are they integrating into the school system or in the community?
So we currently have 5 mums in the house and 8 children in the house. And there's also another family in the area that we're supporting as a group, but in the house itself, that's how many children there are. So they're actually settled in quite nicely into the community. They're in grade school and a couple are in high school. It wasn't easy to make the change for them. They came with very limited English skills, but for all of them, the mums and the kids, but they have certainly worked very hard at learning English. And the children being younger, it's maybe a little bit easier than for the mums in their 30s and 40s, but honestly, it's been quite impressive to see how well they have done. The kids have settled into programs in the community. I know a couple of them are taking karate. There's a few other programs that the kids are in, so they're doing what kids do when they're in a new place. And I think maybe Marion, you want to talk about the market activity?
Sure. Just to add to what Deborah said, also the children are partaking in summer camps as well, the YMCA Settlement Services. Shout out to them for all the support and the work that they've done with the different families. So that's underway as we speak, and we have been coordinating the volunteers for transportation to get them there and get them back home, which has had its challenges because, there's a lot. But it's gone well. I think we've got everybody scheduled in now. Yeah. But as Deborah said, in terms of the farmers market, we've got the children who I think we told you last time we were here that they are having a business there, a drink stand. So of course, hot stuff in the winter time and colder stuff in the summertime. And that's going well, I think. And then 3 of the moms are also there and have stands themselves. One mom has Ukrainian food, so that's what she is selling, strudels and borscht and chicken soup and pierogies. Lovely. If you've never had a dessert pierogi with cherries in it, you must.
Or blueberries.
And then one of the other moms, she is selling chocolate. And another mom is selling her knitwear, which is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, I'm so inspired by the strength of the women leaving their country on a dime in trauma. Coming to a country and a community that they never anticipated in their lives, and how the strength, the will to make it an environment that they could thrive in. Like,
Yeah.
just the spirit to be able to do that.
One of our families living in the house, one of the mums who's doing the program or the table at the market selling Ukrainian food, actually has done very amazing things in that she did the catering for an International Women's Day event in March, and then was the speaker at the event as well, where she talked about her journey of, the war started, making the decision to leave, how she left the country and ended up here in Owen Sound. And it really is, it is heartbreaking to hear the choices that these mums have had to make, and the lives that they've left behind, and they're doing their best to make a good life here for their children. But it's certainly heartbreaking for them to leave their other family members behind, and being worried about what's happening to them every day. So it's certainly something we're aware of as board members, that we're supporting these families to be able to settle into the community and move on, but they're dealing with a lot, and so it's great to have the support, I think, of our community for this, but also within the building for these mums to have each other to help them get settled into the community as well.
And some of these families need additional counseling.
That's not something that I'm aware any of them have taken us up on.
Okay.
At this point.
I think the settlement services has been just so phenomenal to support these families in many, many ways. Getting them connected with the English language learning programs, with the kids, getting them connected with the camps, actually helping with donations for a number of things, just to keep the families moving forward. So I think there's been a lot of community support that way for the families.
Job searching, accommodations.
Yes.
YMCA Settlement Services was instrumental in helping our one mom with finding an apartment, who has already moved on and has her own apartment. It's a lovely apartment. And I think she's settling in quite well from last I heard from her.
Yeah, I was with her yesterday actually, and she's just very happy with the way the apartment's working out, all the furniture that was donated to help her settle in, she and her daughter. And yeah, there's a real sense of pride for sure to be moving forward, and actually starting paperwork to become a permanent resident of Canada. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing. Just amazing. So you have a transition. Are you going to be needing any specific items for the next families that are coming in?
Probably not. In terms of tangible items, I mean, financial donations are always welcome, as well as gift cards for, Metro grocery store, particularly because that's downtown and easy access for them, as well as Walmart, I know, is on the other end, but we can provide transportation through our volunteers for that. But as far as other items, people, if they have anything, they can email the Ukrainian Village of Owen Sound at gmail.com, and we will get back in touch with them within a few days. Sometimes it's immediate, just depending on what's going on. But sometimes it might take a couple of days before we respond. And we always ask if there's any kind of furniture or anything like that. We want pictures and also dimensions, because we can't take like a 7-foot couch, for example. They're not going to have apartments that are going to be able to accommodate that, just using that as an example.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, in terms of their transitioning, they want to be comfortable in terms of the items that they receive, but at the same time not overwhelmed by them. So,
sorry, Mary Jane, I was just going to say, to actually answer your question, the fourplex was all furnished when everybody moved in, so all that furnishing stays.
Oh, I see.
And so the next renters, I'll call them, next tenants, I should say, come in, they will assume those pieces of furniture that are already in the apartments.
I'm glad that you clarified that, because when you said they were moving out, I made the assumption that the furniture was moving with them.
No.
Oh, very good. Very
But
good.
as they get into their new homes and apartments and things, that's where they could use a few.
So we have had some things donated to us already to help people set up in new places. And in fact, we have had a couple of storage lockers donated as well, which has been fabulous. So we're able to move those donations into the storage lockers, take pictures of what we've got, and, you know, so the mums can decide if this is something that they could use, or if it'll work in the little places that they're moving into. You know, we've got all the dishes we need for 5 families to move into new apartments. So, so it's been really great. The community has just been phenomenal with the support, not just support through donations like this, but through financial support, through volunteering, and just, you know, being available for the families, for those. We've had a few Ukrainian speaking volunteers step up, and that's been really good too.
So if someone wanted to contribute grocery cards, how would they get them to you, or get them to the board members?
Yes, the best way is to send an email, and then I will coordinate the pickup of those gift cards from them. So that's Ukrainian Village of Owen Sound at gmail.com. That's the best way to get in touch with us. We're a virtual organization, so we do not have brick and mortar place for people to drop things off, and we don't have an actual dedicated phone number for the Ukrainian Village of Owen Sound either. So unfortunately, we can't we can't give anybody a phone number to contact.
But email is awesome.
And they can also connect through to us through our Facebook page. That's very helpful for people if they, you know, just want to send a quick question or something. They can do that, and we'll respond that way. But mostly we like to do it via email so that we can have that record. But also there's lots of coordination that happens, and so doing it via the Facebook page is not probably the best.
Excuse me. So one of the best ways is to follow your Facebook page, because that's where a lot of the information is being transferred and posted and that sort of thing. I follow it, so I know what's going on and what the call is out for. Sometimes transportation, sometimes women are looking for jobs, and the call goes out that way as well. And so the more people who are following you on Facebook, the more response you can get, and the more information that's disseminated in the community.
That's right. On the Facebook page currently, we just posted our 1-year journey on there, and Lesia Chapman has been instrumental in doing the sort of the public relations side, and so she has put that out on the Facebook page, so people can see sort of the 1-year journey that we've gone through. And one of our moms has also provided a quote in there from herself about her own experience.
One of the things that is really remarkable is the 1-year journey, and so much that has been accomplished in 1 year. I mean, really, when you start to put those pieces together and realize how far the Ukrainian village has come in 1 year, not only for the board members and the community that has supported it, but for the actual families themselves.
There are over 50 Ukrainian families in Bruce and Grey counties, I believe.
I think the last time I spoke to the YMCA, have to be careful, but 70, that number was used. Now, we're just trying to confirm that, but definitely 50 plus.
Yeah.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
In our community.
How do people get how do they start that process when they're in Ukraine? I'm just curious.
When they're in Ukraine?
Yeah, how do they, I mean, what starts first? I have no clue as to how they end up in Owen Sound.
Well, it's been different for every family that's come here, for sure. And there are government supports to help people as they're moving. I mean, our families have traveled here through different countries. It's not like you go from Ukraine to Canada. They've some through Moldova, through Bulgaria,
Spain, Greece.
Yeah. So they end up getting here different ways. Some of them, when they landed in Toronto at the airport, had supports. Some of them didn't. So it has been very interesting for us to hear the stories of how they arrive, and they arrive with a suitcase. So it's a difficult journey for the families leaving Ukraine, and of course the war is still full steam. So unfortunately, there are more people who've had to flee the country but don't have a permanent place to stay, or are in a number of different temporary shelters. So we're hoping that we can quickly fill the rooms that we will have available as our mums move out.
Mm-hmm. One of the organizations that they would work through is the Canadian Ukraine Emergency Aid, and so they have to become visa holders, etc. And then another organization that we specifically work with is the Canadian Ukrainian Immigration Services, which I did not know has been around for 30 plus years. And so they work with a lot of different people who are fleeing different countries to come to Canada. And so that's one organization we work with, and they do the vetting and help explain to the families what Owen Sound is about, and not just Owen Sound, but Grey Bruce and so forth. And so for some of them, they can resonate with the Owen Sound Bay and the beautiful landscape because they come from, Odessa, even though it's, over 1 million people there who live there. There's the Black Sea, and so there's that draw to the water and the landscape.
Mm-hmm. Marion, Deborah, thank you so much for coming on and giving us an update with our Ukrainian village. If you're down at the farmers market, be sure to stop in and support them. We'll be back after these messages on Grey County Life.
Welcome to the traditional, ancestral, unceded territory of the Stalo people. The Stalo are people of the river. I'm so thankful for the courage and resiliency of our ancestors who lived on this land since time immemorial. Each of us have gifts from the Creator, and our Creator has a plan and purpose to be fulfilled in our territory. As we embrace our traditional teachings, we can lead the next generation into the fullness of what our Creator designed. Our shared history reveals a broken relationship. But as all Canadians commit to hear truth, acknowledge injustice, we can learn to walk in our traditional way, Letsamot, with a good heart and a good mind. Then all of our lives will be enriched. Kwasai.
He's, taking up some space, and just a perfect shot.
And we got a tie ball game. Nice low shot, right around.
Are you the type who would keep going or stop? It's not easy to stop when you have an addiction. Legalizing cannabis won't stop addiction. It trivializes its consumption. Let's be vigilant. If you need help, visit portage.ca.
Welcome back to Grey County Life on Rogers TV, and we are honored with our guests from the Roxy, and we have Mr. Bill Murphy, who I am a huge fan from way back, and Sheila Spur with a wonderful, wonderful play on the way. Oh my gosh. And as Mary Jane and I alluded to everybody, we got to meet you last night and hear about the play, and what a spectacular event last night. Just a thrill to be able to see you on stage and to hear about your process.
Well, yes, and we got a sneak preview about this, but we're such big fans of the Owen Sound Little Theatre, and so much respect for all the actors, the directors, the writers, the stage crew. I mean, everyone does an amazing job to put together such quality productions. And Sheila, if we could just start with you first to tell us, for the audience that wasn't there last night, to tell us once again about writing a play and why the wilderness.
I like to quickly say it was a marriage of two big loves of mine, the theater and canoe camping with my beautiful friends. And it came upon just after a beautiful trip that I had in Killarney with my group of friends. I found myself in a place of continuing joy. I was climbing trees, I was laughing and crying, and the momentum of that sort of lasted for another month. Once I got back, and I was writing. Every time I was in nature, I ended up carrying a notepad that I would jot down these thoughts of characters, situations, and it slowly morphed into a play. And I was surprised. It was not something I was aiming for, but it certainly came through very heatedly, and I'm very happy with the way that it's ended. Bill was the first person that saw my finished product, which was a very raw product at that time. And quintessentially, as a teacher, a great mentor, not quite done yet. So,
thank goodness.
I had that careful, gentle guidance for the next little while, or long while, landed me with this.
And what was the long while? I mean, you've been journaling your adventures in the wilderness with your friends, but how long did it take for the play to actually become the final product?
The rough piece, I finished in a year.
Okay.
It was like a puzzle. The more that I reflect on it, I love puzzles. And I used Bristol board, situations, characters, ages, and sort of like plop them here and there. That was really fun. That was the big work. And then with Bill going, not quite ready yet, it was just more, I never felt downhearted. It was just another like, wow, what else will come out?
But you started about, what, 13 years ago?
I did. It was workshopped 11 years ago.
What does that mean when you say it was workshopped?
There's 3 acts. So the the first act was workshopped.
Which means we staged it, we cast it with 4 women, and there's 1 man who appears, and just to see how it worked on stage.
Yes.
And it was a wonderful piece. It was about an hour and a half long in itself. Secretly, I think Sheila had written a trilogy at the time. And so we tried it out, and it was fabulously successful. Everybody loved it. We had a wonderful cast, and then Sheila put it aside for a while.
I did. Life intervened. And it wasn't until like several years later, I would say like in 2017. I picked it up, and to the chagrin of Bill, I added another character called Mother Nature. I had so much fun with this character, but it just wasn't working. So after Bill looking at it, and a couple other people that I know and trust and value looked at it, unanimously we all thought, no, Mother Nature can take a hike. So that's what she did, and left with this product that is now going to be up on stage very soon.
Gorgeous gallivanting goddesses. Now, in the goddesses, there's 4 women,
yes,
and a guy,
yes,
or a dude,
yes, a park ranger,
a park ranger. But it is over. The journey isn't just that one camping trip. It takes on the next decade and the next decade. So you have, well, a bit of a trilogy, I guess, embedded in there, because women go through such different experiences at different points in their life.
Yes.
So do you see yourself in any of those characters?
Yes. Yeah, there was a lot of self-exploration, curiosity, wanting to explore certain ideas myself. There is one goddess, Daphne, who is quite a voluptuous, very confident character that I just had to sort of think more about what is this? Can I make her more approachable? Because I love strong women that are, whoever they are, boldly, right? So yes, so yeah, certainly I had my take. A lot of the characters, I work as a nurse, so there's a lot of nurse characteristics within the women as well. They are a fun-loving bunch, the 4.
I'm sure those camping trips were pretty interesting, adventurous, maybe even wild. Now, Bill, you are directing the play. How did you manage all these women characters because they were evolving over the decades?
Well, part of the beauty of it is the fact that I've been involved with the evolution of the script.
Yes.
So I knew the characters pretty well to begin with. And we've got a great cast who also bring elements out of the character, things that they have found. And part of our process for them is to, understand what your character needs and wants at that moment and experiment with how you bring that out, and the way you move, the way you speak, the way you interact with each other. So we've been working on it since February. We've had a good rehearsal run at it, and 4 wonderful actresses. No, sorry, the term is actors now. Everybody's an actor.
Yeah.
Pardon my sexist language there. And the one male role as well. So it's been a lovely period of discovery as we work through each of the characters, discovers things about themselves. And I think we do as well. Sudden realization that, oh, why does she say that? Why does she do that? What's underneath there?
Yes.
And so the journey, the exploration is so much fun for me and for the actors as well. And we always hope that we get it right, because Sheila's been with us all along and stepping in when we needed someone to read parts and so on. So it's been a wonderful collaboration with everybody, and the whole cast included. So for me, it's just been a delightful experience.
Well, Sheila, you've taken this journey, this writing journey, this play, and you've lived with it for a very long time. And then you have gently handed it over to Bill, and who has also worked with it. But it's like handing over a baby. You sort of have to let it go a little bit and know that it's in safe hands. So how did you manage through that?
Oh my gosh. Thank you. That's a perfect question. For one thing, there was immense joy in knowing that Bill was going to helm it. That I've seen him, I've been an actor on stage and have felt how present, how giving he is as an actor. I know personally how giving and talented he is as a mentor with writing. I knew it was in very good hands. I've always wanted it to be a co-creative experience. And yes, there were aspects of the process where like, oh, right, I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to like, so I'm very interested in directing right now. I've had the great honor of watching Bill direct, which is very different than being in a play and being directed, where your mind is sort of like set focused. I got to see how Bill very gently goes about directing individuals in their specific ways, very respectful, not expecting everything to be bang right on. As the playwright, it has been exhilarating to watch the process. Happy to be in the background if somebody needs to have a word or something changed. I'm happy to sort, get rid of it. But it's been, I'm so full of joy with watching it. Couldn't be happier.
Oh, that is it's such a gratitude statement, because so many people who hand their work over to someone else don't always feel that connection and that joy, because they sort of feel as if the material has not emerged the way they had thought it would.
I would say some of the material hasn't emerged as I thought it would. And it's better. It's so great. Thanks to Bill, thanks to the wonderful actors that are participating in it too.
So the lesson learned here for future playwrights is, before you hand your work over to someone, you have to be able to really trust them.
Trust. I think you need to lean into maybe some discomfort, not with Bill, because I knew Bill, another director that I don't know so well. And who knows where this play is going to go. I'm going to just like have fun, you know? Put it out there and let's just see what you create too.
And as a director, for me, it's an incredible treat and opportunity to have the playwright there.
Oh, yes.
You know, you do a Shakespeare. I'd love to have met him and worked with him, but
not so easy.
You know, this is a rare opportunity where I can say, what about that moment, or what about that word? You know, is that right? Is that what you were after there? And it's been a wonder. I love the collaborative process, and that's the whole thing with OSLT. I think the actors bring so much, and I mean, we've got a phenomenal set design. Paul Nicholson, our set designer, has recreated the Killarney campground.
Wow.
And his partner Terry Burns and Paul Welch have built the beautiful backdrop. Just the woods just disappears into the distance. So there's so many talents who collaborate. You know, we began with a potluck dinner and a reading and creating a lovely little community. But it's a rare treat to be with the playwright.
I would think there's a lot of pressure to feel like you're conveying her original feeling.
It's the same with every play, though. You know, you want to get at, you know, what did Shakespeare intend? What's his objective in that scene? Any playwright, you've got to get to that. What's underneath there? What drives that character? Just probing the depths and justifying what you think and your interpretations and your decisions that you make. There are a million decisions you make in a play, not just where you stand, but you know how quickly you respond. But it's got to be character driven as well. And Sheila's created some wonderful characters and wonderful situations, and it does probe all of life's vagaries and ups and downs, and has a great deal of fun doing it. You know, it's wonderful.
Well, this is what I'm really looking forward to, because in the interview last night that we heard and today, I have heard the word fun and joy repeatedly. And so I I understand it's a comedy, but it has some real life experiences to it as well. So there's going to be so much that we can relate to in this play. But I love the title. Like, gorgeous.
You mean
gorgeous
goddesses? I was going to say too, we need to know, when are the shows? Where do we get the tickets? Not that everybody's kind of familiar, but we need to go over those details too. What are the show dates?
It starts June 15th. And
so Thursday, Friday, Saturday to the 17th. And then again, we open on the 21st, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Tickets available at the Roxy box office, 371-2833. If my memory is correct. Check that before you call, though, folks. Anyway, it's coming up fast. We're 2 weeks away as of this Thursday, and we're very excited and very confident and just excited about bringing this to life on the stage.
Yeah. Oh, I am so excited because we got a sneak preview about some of the background information, and I'm really waiting for the word help spelt out, and whether or not that's in the play or not. I'm curious to see whether or not. So I've got my tickets.
That isn't in the play. That was a question Marianne asked, like, what didn't make it into the play? So
yeah, okay. An interesting visual I left with.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing what happens in your career following this. It's been a long process for you, and if you're going into the director's seat, really looking forward to that too.
Thank you. I am too. I mentioned earlier about puzzles and how they intrigue me. I think there's a lot of puzzling with directing as well, like what goes there, what can be enhanced. And I've learned a lot from this guy here.
And I've learned a lot from this woman.
Well, fantastic.
Yeah, OSLT, it's a wonderful thing for our community to have.
Is it ever? Yeah, we're huge proponents for that. So we're looking forward to it. So make sure you get down to the Roxy, get your tickets, and go see some gorgeous gallivanting goddesses.
Yes.
Really looking forward to it. Thanks so much. We will be back after these messages with more Grey County Life on Rogers TV.
October 5th, 2014, my daughter was hit by a train. She was walking along the sides of the tracks, and it shattered her world.
With clubs, leagues, and courts in every province and territory across Canada, squash is the sport for wall-to-wall fun, fitness, and friendship. From coast to coast to coast. Learn to play, and you'll want to do it every day. Squash. Play inside the box.
I'm Ross Kettner, Mayor of the Municipality of Meaford. There's a lot going on these days, and you can keep up with all of it simply by watching our regular council meetings each Tuesday afternoon at 3 on Rogers TV.
Welcome back to Grey County Life on Rogers TV with our favorite segment, Adorable Adoptables with Renee. And oh my gosh, again, cuteness all over, Renee. My
Puppies,
goodness, we are 2 for 2.
puppies. I know. We're having a weird year. Don't typically have puppies. Usually kittens, right? Usually right about now I'm like, oh my God, kittens. Not this year. Puppies. Which, I mean, puppies are so fun. So I don't really mind, but we are a little overwhelmed. There is one left of the litter that we had last week. Hopefully that little monkey's going tomorrow. Fingers crossed. And surprise, we got 4 new ones. There's only 2, and I realize now I had more hands. This is Aislinn. She came because puppies. And I could have brought 4 because we could have brought more. The other 2, there's another one that looks very much like this, and one that is tan in color with a little bit of black, so more of your beagle style. Now, these pups are 7.5 weeks, and if you remember the ones we had last week, they were smaller. These are going to be bigger. They are Walker Hound was Daddy, and Mummy was a Walker Hound Greyhound. So what we've got is a very active, sporty breed, thin, leggy dog, which might be exactly what you're looking for. I don't know.
Lots of leg.
It is going to be an incredibly smart dog, a very loyal dog, and a very easy to train dog. So all of those things are super awesome.
Yeah.
It's going to be a dog who needs a lot of exercise, a lot of activity, and a lot of stimulation. And it's important that I mention that because this is a dog that will eat your couch.
There you go.
If you leave it alone all day and do nothing with it and don't put it in a crate, this is the dog that's going to do that. Only because it's bored.
Yes.
If you're going to not allow it to get bored, which is the goal, maybe you want 3 or 4 of them. No, I'm just kidding. The goal is if you keep them stimulated and active, those things should not be a concern. I mean, it's a concern with all puppies, but the odds are a little better with these guys. They are dogs that are going to have incredibly good sniffers. An apartment's probably not ideal. They're going to know what your neighbor's cooking. They're going to be very good listeners because they're, again, super duper inbred for that sort of purpose. They're going to know when there's a car coming up the street. They're going to be a little bit more on the barky side. But beyond that,
Charlie
whatever.
does the same thing.
Every dog has its quirks, and it's good to know what you're in for so that you can prepare for it and work out a plan to keep it from being a problem. Now, these 2 little ones we have with us are both girls, I think. Is this a girl? This is a girl. But there are 2 males, so apparently we just brought the girls. It's a girl party.
It's a girl party.
It's a girl
Gallivanting goddesses.
That's what I was thinking about that today.
And they are so gorgeous. Oh my God.
Do we know the name of the Gallivanting goddesses? Maybe they could have those names.
Oh my gosh, that would be so cool.
Daphne, but
we haven't met them yet.
You could be little Daphne.
Oh, you are just about
little Daphne. She's a little on the shyer side. So these pups have had their vaccines, deworming, defleeing. They are not spayed and neutered. Again, a reminder, please have your pets fixed. Call me about that before you consider these puppies. We want to make sure you get it done. No more puppies.
Yes.
So I was just going to ask whether or not, because they might be very active and they might be a little barky, maybe they're more suitable for a neighborhood where you have greater space between the homes.
Definitely.
As opposed to a neighborhood that...
My neighbor's way over there. No. And I mean, certainly barkiness and activity levels are things that we as pet owners are supposed to do things to kind of reduce. Again, keeping them exercised and active, training them to bark, to train them not to bark is a really cool trick. There are things we can do as well, things like hushers and equipment that stops those sort of things. But to make it easier, absolutely, live in the country. Or let your dog have daytime playtime, if that makes sense, so that come nighttime they settle. That's a very important thing that a lot of us don't do, myself included, because I work all day. I get home at night, then it becomes dog playtime, but luckily I don't have neighbors. If I did, they'd find I got some pretty bored dogs in the house who are barking at them. So it definitely helps to keep your schedule knowing your dog's activity level for sure.
Well, and there are dog walkers in Owen Center,
There
right?
are.
Yeah. I mean,
there
there's
are.
a
There
reason for
definitely
that.
are. Yep.
Yeah.
And it's a really good idea. I mean, they're going to be stronger and they're going to be active, so it's something to be considered, but they're at the right age to teach them how to behave, which is a huge advantage, right? When you get a 4-year-old who's got a barking issue, whole other ballgame. Puppy's a little bit easier. They're still moldable.
Yes.
I'm sorry, how old are these?
They're almost 8 weeks. They're not even quite 8 weeks yet.
Not quite
Yeah,
8 weeks.
so they're pretty big.
They're like Jello. They're like, she's just like,
I know.
oh my gosh.
What you've got is a lump of dog.
I've got a lump of dog.
Yeah.
And how tall? You said they're going to be long and leggy, but how tall are
Look at these feet.
we? Yeah.
Okay, so lab height.
Oh yeah, lab. Okay.
Oh yeah. Like Charlie.
Not Great Dane height.
Shouldn't be.
No.
No,
But God only knows.
lab height. The difference is, as we know, labs often get coffee table-like as they get older. These ones won't.
Oh, okay.
Well, you know what I mean. They get
Yes, I do.
barely, right? They get tall and heavy. These will be just legs.
Okay.
Like, think moose.
Oh yeah.
Like a moose. Moose would be a great name.
Moose would be a good name. Hello, little mini moose.
Oh, little Daphne over here is like, my name's not Moose. She's very sad face. This one I think will be the smallest.
She looks tiny.
She's the runty one. Do we still use that word? I don't know. We used to.
I'm the runt in my
smallest.
family, so
Me
yeah,
too.
why not?
Here we go.
I'm okay with it. Yes, I'm okay with it. Well, they
It
are
is
so
important to
sweet.
mention with the warm weather we're having, as I'm noticing these guys are getting pretty warm,
Yes.
make sure your pets are inside, make sure they have water. When we used to say, make sure they have access to shade. The reality is it's not really enough. Inside, they want to be inside.
Yeah.
Ideally, with a fan and an air conditioning and things, but ideally inside. If they're outside, they have to be outside. Please make sure they have lots and lots and lots of water. Shade is definitely a huge plus and a must-have, but the water is even more important to keep their temperature down. Keep your walk short. That's another thing. Even though these guys are super active, keep your walk short. It's hot. They don't want to do it. We get a lot of dog bites in the hot weather because dogs are grumpy and they don't want to be touched, just like we don't. Please keep that in mind. Keep
never
it in
thought
mind.
of
It's
that.
not a good time to go to a dog park. It is not a good time to go visit your friends with your dogs. They're hot and they're unhappy and they want their space.
Oh, okay.
Please keep that in mind.
Especially when there's kids around.
Also super important to point out that the water that is sitting on the grounds, the little bit that we have left, we're going to call it puddle water or swampy water or spring water that is now evaporating. The water that is left in those puddles is gross. Your dog should not drink it. It doesn't count as a fresh water supply. There's a lot of bacteria living in there, a lot of parasites living in there right now, and high bacteria counts. So when you're providing the fresh water, make sure it's fresh water and not something coming out of the ground, because right now it's not good water.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're very
Renee
welcome.
And Aislinn, it's so awesome to see both of you. And we will be back next week with more Great County Life on Rogers TV and more adorable adoptables.
Call the Rogers TV viewer response line, email us, or connect with us on social media.
This is a brain in urgent need of mental health care. But because 3 out of every 4 Indigenous people experience racism in healthcare, she may not get the help she needs. Become an ally. Rise above racism in healthcare.
Think it's okay to drive high? Think again. Drug-impaired driving is as illegal as drunk driving, and in Ontario, the penalties are the same. If police suspect you're driving